Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tesla Life number 139 for the 11th of March. I got the date right this week. Fantastic. We're off to a good start. we plateaued already.
It's all downhill from here.
Of course, joining me this evening, Mr. Casey Green from the DC area. How are you today, sir?
Doing pretty well.
Excellent, excellent. Good weather out in DC today?
Yeah, it was like 70 degrees.
Wow, that is summer weather, almost early summer weather. Very good, very good. Also, from the other side, the other coast, Mr. Patrick Connor joins us from the West Coast. How are things with you today, sir?
They are good. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Tesla Life. Buckle up for our fun ride, gravity-assisted downhill from here. We're going to leave fossil fuels in the dust, or should I say in the smog, where they belong, in history. That 19th century technology.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, sir.
You guys saw that news about the Diesel brothers?
Yeah, the Diesel brothers got a hefty fine for tampering with exhaust systems or exhaust computer systems, something along that line.
All of the above.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So they ran a
Chapter
television
12.
show, right, on History Channel or something. They had a television show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess if you modify what the EPA says, you get your hands slapped, and that's what happened to them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
So are they?
Small places,
Is their last name actually Diesel?
That would be awesome, but I doubt it.
Because I mean that it was named after the guy who actually invented it. Although he wanted it to use peanut oil, he didn't want it to use crude oil at all.
Interesting.
And, yeah, and then he fell off a boat on the way back from the World's Fair.
Gee, how did that happen?
And then the next day, Standard Oil announced diesel fuel.
Wow.
Exactly.
That's quite the history lesson, Mr. Connor. I did not know those facts. Interesting.
Well, let's talk about smog.
Well, tonight we got a ton of news as per usual, and let's start with Shanghai. Giga-factory there is now starting to produce the Model 3 Performance. And how do we know that? Because a few pictures leaked of a transport truck, car carrier, leaving the plant with performance vehicles. The performance underline on the dual motor at the back badge, as well as the red calipers, equals pretty well a guaranteed performance vehicle, especially when there's a whole truckload of them leaving the factory. Yeah. So good to see. We talked about this last week about Tesla asking the Chinese government about building longer range cars. That, of course, would include the Performance Model 3, as well as the all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive, possibly as well. But it's good to see that Shanghai is now producing a few different variants of the Model 3, depending on what you're after. So, fantastic.
There was speculation about where these things were actually origined from. I don't think it really matters, but they're suggesting that they're not Chinese, and then the people who are saying that they are Chinese are like, well, look at the badges, look at the wheels. And I'm sitting here thinking that they're going to homologate the car to the local market, even if it wasn't built at that factory.
Well, we did know that other variants of the car were being sold in China, but they were U.S. built.
And that's what they were suggesting that this was. But
if they were U.S. built, why on earth would they ship them to the factory to then leave the factory?
They could have pulled a Tilburg on it, but I think, like you're saying, I think they would just ship them straight to the owner from the port rather than do any assembly in China.
Well, the picture that was shared, of course, was car carrier outside of the factory. So we don't have any evidence of performance being assembled or anything like that. But I guess we will continue to watch and see if anything else comes of that. But it is kind of interesting that Tesla was asking for 2 weeks ago permission to start selling the different battery variants, and then these show up this week.
Yeah.
So,
and the long range is the same battery as the performance in these cars.
Yeah.
I just don't think that, like, unlike Tilburg, which is built for assembly, like of put it together assembly, not constructing. it would change their process to actually have to stop the line, stick these on the end, and finish them up right there. That's just me.
And Tilburg is in Europe, right?
Yeah.
What country?
England, I believe, or somewhere in the UK.
Well, okay.
Yeah, and the reason they do that is just to get around some of the
European regulations.
Tax snags. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Final assembly. If that's all that's required.
Yep. Just needed a badge. We're good. We have our badges only made in this one location. Got to ship all the cars there. Put the badge on.
Oh, the software's made here. You know that? That's where we put the
Right. Yeah. Over the air software. Final assembly. I have heard Tesla having like the wrong headlights. The European headlights are different from the U.S. headlights, and that they had some cars that were stranded in the shipyard, and they wouldn't let them leave until they corrected the headlight issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Our next story is a little bit of an update on CyberTruck pre-orders. Now, the last time we heard from Tesla itself, Elon, he had indicated there were about 250,000 orders. And then we've had some unconfirmed Tesla reports that other sites are tallying what they believe are customer orders, and they're putting that number at about 500,000 is what the number's been floated. Whether or not that's exactly true, we don't know. It's not been confirmed from Tesla since 250,000 anyways. But this pre-order website, a Cybertruck-centric website, has put together a survey of the people that have ordered the truck, and they've been asking where they're from and other bits of information, and they've been able to come up with the information gathered from their members about the top 10 states where the pickup truck has been ordered from. So the Cybertruck number one, you guys can probably guess where that would be. The number one state is California, with about 13% of the people that responded to the survey indicating. Second, Texas, which is no surprise, as we will touch upon the Giga Texas later on in the show.
Yeah, Texas would have been my first guess. I just don't associate trucks with California, but I'm sure there's plenty of trucks in California.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then third, which is a bit of a surprise to me, was Florida. Florida with third place. Washington State, another not a big surprise, is in the fourth position. And then Arizona, number 5. And then the East Coast comes on strong with, we've got a New York, and then a North Carolina, a Georgia, and a Virginia, rounding out the top 10.
I'd suspect those Southeast states, but New York, that's a surprise.
Yeah, so New York is on the map, which is great based on the supercharger activity that's going on out there. There's got to be the need for it because they're popping up like crazy all along the eastern seaboard. As we talked about last week in New Jersey, New York is also getting a spattering of new superchargers that are being built. So obviously it's on the East demand. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool stuff.
Yeah, and the cool thing about a truck is it's going to bring in different people than are interested in the sedans, and so that's cool. More people to come join the party.
Exactly. Now, last week we touched upon the Trans-Canada Drive that we were talking about, where Trevor and Ian were traveling across Canada from Vancouver to Halifax. Well, they successfully completed the journey, and we've got this photo we can share of the festivities that happened afterwards. And let's see if we can get that shared. There we go. So there they are. And you can tell it might have been a bit cold that day.
Especially when Canadians are bundled up like that.
Mm-hmm. So they're sitting at a park on a point just outside of Halifax, and that, of course, is the Atlantic Ocean behind them. They had taken a scoop of sand from British Columbia, as well as a container full of water, and brought it to the other side of the country and collected from this side as well. So congratulations to Trevor and Ian for making the journey. The time, if you're curious, was 73 hours, 23 minutes, and 48 seconds for the total distance that they traveled. So, wow.
Including charging?
Including charging. Yep. All rolled together. So they did drive day and night. They just switched. Somebody slept as the other drove. Another interesting tidbit is they didn't see any wildlife on the entire drive. Like no large wildlife, like a deer or a moose or something else that would be even a raccoon. They didn't see. Obviously birds, but no larger wildlife was seen, which is kind of shocking because a lot of the area they drove through was remote. And it was the only road that was going through wilderness. So it's interesting that in an electric car as well, being so quiet, they didn't see anything. So
it was so cold though.
So we now know that only that the deer are attracted to the exhaust. That's why.
Y'all don't use lead in your gasoline, right?
There was a guy who drove through Canada. It was called the Power of One, and it was a solar-powered EV. And he was talking about how he saw all kinds of wildlife in his quiet little. I was going to say tricycle, but it's more like it's three-wheeler. So solar-powered three-wheeler that was a dome shape, and he had this picture. A wolf was interested. And he's like, "Oh, look, wildlife!" and just walks up to it. And the locals are like, "No, don't
stay away from the wolf. Are you nuts?"
Yeah. So they have this picture of him sticking his hand out to a wolf, and afterwards he said they told me that they've never seen that before, and that I'm crazy.
Now, Patrick, I guess that was probably during a warmer month, though.
Yes, probably.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So, everything is hibernating in Canada once we get by December. So
right, yeah, that explains it. So if we call ours in the States here a Cannonball Run, then yours just got to be the Cannonball Run.
The Cannonball Run. You are the hashtag supremacy, my friend.
Hashtag FUBU.
Exactly. You had that ready, man.
I hope they caught up on their sleep.
Yeah. Now they got to get home.
That's right. They're actually home. It only took them because, of course, they didn't have to go the full length. They both reside in central Canada, so one stopped in Montreal, the other in Toronto. So they made it back safely, and I believe they're still sleeping to this time. So
probably so.
Now they're hibernating.
I believe Ian made the comment that he knows what the Gemini crew felt like orbiting the Earth in a tin can for 3 days. Because basically he was in a tin can for 3 days. But at least they got to step outside the capsule every
they got to stretch their legs.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not,
you
not
can't
quite
just
as
pull up to a Tim Hortons drive-through when you're in outer space.
Pack of Timbits and a double, please. Absolutely. Our next story comes from Tampa Bay, Florida. Speaking of Florida in a previous story, there apparently was a film crew that's putting together a documentary and filming in Tampa. And they had reached out to the local Tesla owners group and had asked if people were interested in participating. They wanted Model 3 owners to come out. And they were filming this documentary about sustainable transportation in the future, which apparently is going to air around Super Bowl 2021 time, so January of next year. And they did actually rent one of the highways in Tampa to shut down a length of it for filming. They had a number of film trucks with the boom cameras, and it was quite apparently, through some of the people that were there, it was quite a professional operation. They had them do a number of laps, and the group performed some autopilot functions for the filming. So there were 9 Tesla Model 3s that were involved in the filming in this particular stage, and it was reported by the Tampa Bay Tesla Owners Group. So interesting to see. Keep your eyes open for that documentary, as we mentioned, in January of 2021 near Super Bowl time.
Very cool. Yeah, transportation is going through one of the biggest changes it's been through in 100 years. So it's awesome to see it getting documented.
Yep.
And here's another weird one from the files. Is there is a UK group that recently took a Model 3 and its audio abilities and added an exhaust sound to the Model 3 so that it sounded, as they put it, like a real car sound. They added the RPM, the muffled sounds of a muffler, the revving type noises, and somehow synced it up to the speed of the car and what they felt if this car was an ICE engine would sound like, and put those sounds into the Model 3 and actually use the external speaker to push those sounds out.
So does it only work at up to 19 miles an hour? If that's the case, then they just replaced the sound.
Maybe they've modified it so that they've added speakers. Maybe that was it. Because you're right, the software currently would cut it off at 19 miles per hour.
Yeah, or they're just reusing the speaker. It is a positive. It's 2 wires to run sound through it.
Right.
Yeah, or you could just use the internal speakers, and if you play it loud enough, it makes noise outside too.
This is true.
Roll the windows down.
Unfortunately, you succumb to deafness at some point, but
yeah.
As long as you and if they're going to go for that much realism, shouldn't they open a can of CO2 in the back and just let it leak quietly into the car?
Yeah.
Yes. A vaping pen for some smoke.
Run amok.
I see a new future for a new product. You could just go to the local convenience store and get a can of exhaust and pop it in the back. There you go. You can have the smells that you were used to 3 years ago. Man, it's kind of wacky, but I guess that's no more wacky than Tesla adding the coconut clopping noise, which apparently is coming to us as well. The Monty Python skit that I am looking forward to myself. But this was kind of a one from left field. People do what they want to do. And again, if it makes them happy, it's fine. It's their car. You can do what you want with it. But just kind of an interesting spin. I know that when I came from my gas car, one of the greatest things for me was the no noise whatsoever. And I know that giving test drive to relatives and friends and acquaintances, that they're all amazed with, why is it on? Why is there's nothing? There's no sound. There's not nothing when you start. So having an artificial noise, I don't know. It doesn't suit my fancy, but hey, to each their own.
Go ahead, Casey.
I was always impressed by how quiet the Teslas were before they added the speaker, compared to other EVs that also didn't make a noise. So like my Volt and some of the other vehicles out there that were not named Nissan Leaf, and just because it had the speaker as well, and like it was half the volume of the others. Like literally, if it had new tires and was on decent pavement, you couldn't hear it at all. Yeah, somebody was going really slow.
Yeah, that's cool. There's always when you have a transition like this, there's this weird stage where people want to have some of the things from the old version to make them comfortable. Some of the first horseless carriages had these fake horse heads on front. This is stupid stuff. And even like word processors today, you type black on white to make it look like paper from an old typewriter. And so we get stuck with some of those things, and they sometimes they stick around, and other times that we move on past them. So you'll see weird stuff during transitions like this.
We just did one. Daylight saving.
Oh,
That garbage.
yeah, that garbage needs to go.
Yeah. Some people actually, some states and provinces stopped using it. So yeah, that's another thing that's kind of from the past. But
it's new.
Another interesting point about this is that do you guys remember a film, a Hollywood film about somebody making noises in an electric car? There was a film that was made about this particular subject, and these two guys got rich from, or it was their ultimate dream. It was their shot at the big time. Was they made an electric car sound like a regular sports car, like with the noises, the shifting, the exhaust noise. It was a movie. I can't remember the name of it. If you out there in YouTube land know it, please put it in the notes. But I know I've seen that movie, and it was with one of the stars in it was the gentleman from King of Queens, who played the main role, the driver of the truck. The driver of the UPS truck. That was his job in the King of Queens. But I guess not. I'm the only one who's seen the movie.
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
I did have an app that was kind of fun to play with. It's called Accelerate, but it's the letter XLR and then the number 8, XLR8. And you hook it up to the Bluetooth in your car, and then it uses your phone's accelerometer and figures out if you're speeding up or slowing down, and it revs, and you get to pick different car models. It was kind of fun to play with. I played with it for about a week and then said, I don't need that anymore, delete.
Fair enough.
There you go.
Mr. Green has a story for us about some Easter eggs within Easter eggs. What do you got?
I heard you like Easter eggs, so I put an Easter egg in your Easter egg.
Inception, man. Whoa, mind blown.
Yeah. So, a recent software update. I actually went out and recorded this particular Easter egg, and didn't even realize that there was a surprise within the surprise. What I'm talking about here is the new camp mode. When it came out, if you let the car sit in camp mode and don't touch anything for about 10-ish minutes, a little bit longer than 10 minutes, it will put up a nice, beautiful campfire. And in the scene, there were Christmas lights when I took mine out. I don't think that the new ones have the Christmas lights. And in the lawn chair is the little dog from dog mode. But in the back, what Mark and I thought was just another tent in the shadows, they have adjusted this so you can see it better, is a CyberTruck.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it wasn't this obvious before the photo was enhanced.
Yeah.
But you're right. That's to me it looked like in the regular photo like just kind of another tent. But nope, that's what it was. CyberTruck is hitting in the background.
Yeah.
That wasn't in there before the CyberTruck reveal, was it?
Ooh, that's
no, because the camp mode came out after CyberTruck was revealed.
Okay.
That
would have been
What if it was there
cool
before the lights were removed? Because the lights were strung up from the tent to somewhere else.
Oh, they kind of strung across where the truck was?
I don't think they did. They were just kind of in the middle. It was just very festive. And then at some point, I guess when Christmas season was over, they took the lights down.
Right. So that might have been snuck in there in one of their updates when they're changing it for the season. So that's kind of cool. It's like that this could things could come and go. Next time you might see Bigfoot in there. Who knows?
Yep, that's a great idea. They could just update this screen every once in a while and let us figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Where's Waldo?
Our next story is Patrick Scott about number of cars produced.
Okay, so Elon Musk recently tweeted that Tesla has hit their 1 millionth vehicle produced. So that's 1 million all-electric vehicles from Tesla. which is an awesome milestone for a company that has been on the death watch for and was surely going to die and never going to get this far, and nobody wants electric cars, and that'll cost you way too much, and there hasn't been a car company to be successful since Chrysler, and they all go bankrupt. And so so awesome job, congratulations to everybody at Tesla, to the 1 million happy customers they have around the world. This is pretty cool. It was not too long ago that in the U.S. we had our 250th, and they started phasing out the tax credit. And now we've got 1 million. Of course, we're looking at total versus U.S., but that's an awesome achievement that Tesla's made here. And along those same lines, they recently became the world's largest EV maker when they have barely beat out China's BYD, Build Your Dreams. So that was another great accomplishment that they have recently made. So this is pretty cool. After one of the recent accomplishments, Mark, you said something like it's all blue sky ahead for Tesla, and this is just more evidence that they're, to use a phrase that doesn't apply, hitting on all cylinders. Yeah, it's great.
Shocking on all electrons.
There you go. Yeah.
So does it really stand for Build Your Dreams, or is that like a LG where they kind of went back and made it?
Well, that's what the media report. I believe it is Build Your Dreams. It always has been.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's an incredible achievement. 1 million vehicles worldwide, and now things are just starting to ramp up for the new releases, the Model Y, of course, which we'll be talking about here shortly. And that number is going to grow exponentially. When we've seen those graphs previously of Model 3 production, the hockey stick, well, guess what? Over all this time that we've been speaking over the past year, they have continued to push the output harder, faster, more units, and the 2 million is going to come a lot quicker, of course, than the 1 million came. So hats off to Tesla. Things are looking really good at this point for their continued growth and prosperity.
Yeah, that's a good question. So if you're watching this, put down in the comments when you think they will hit 2 million. Because I don't know, when did they ship their first Roadster? 2008?
2008-ish, yeah.
Yeah, so it's taken 12 years to get to 1 million. How long to get to 2 million?
2 years.
Ooh, that's aggressive. Yeah, I was going to say 2024, but I hope Casey's right.
Wow, that definitely could be. If the Model Y is the success that Tesla's planning for, yeah, we could be at 2 million in 2 years. I could see that. I'd probably say 3 as well. I think that.
All right. So we've got 2, 3, and 4 here. So
2,
what do you
3,
guys
and 4.
think?
We'll have to put that in the notes as well, so we can see when number 2 million shows up. And if you
hey, I wanted to comment on this. It looks like their millionth vehicle is a Model Y. So if you are getting a red Model Y later this month, maybe yours is the magic millionth one.
Your VIN number is 1 million.
Yeah, I don't think the VIN numbers are
special VIN numbers
through the different cars.
That's true,
right?
They're not in order, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it would be cool to have a 1 million VIN number, though. I mean, right on the nose, that'd be awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you're watching this show currently, again, as Patrick mentioned, put a note when you think they're going to reach 2 million in the YouTube notes there. And if you're not subscribed to YouTube, what are you waiting for? Press that subscribe, give us a number, be really appreciated. If you're already subscribed, give us a thumbs up. And that helps us put us in the eyes of new viewers as time goes along. So again, that would be appreciated as well.
Actually, I think Casey's right now that I think about it, because they're doing at least 500,000 cars a year now, right? Yeah. So, yeah, if they do 600,000 this year in 2020, and then they could hit it in 2021, late in the year. All right, now I went from the
you went from 4 to 1.75.
Yep.
I bid $1.
$1, Bob. Because it's Drew now, but still.
Absolutely. So that kind of brings us into our next topic. With the Model Y coming out, again, this vehicle is supposed to be highly sought after. We've had a number of reports of people, of course, have ordered it or waiting for it, can hardly wait to get their hands on either the performance or the all-wheel drive, which are being released first. And we're now about what? We're about 4 days away from the earliest recorded delivery day. Some people have indicated that March 15th is the day they're receiving the vehicle. And it appears that there's going to be no event. Not much fanfare is going to happen for the release of this new vehicle from Tesla, where previously other models have had some sort of celebration before it's been released. Just some sort of even a televised simulcast where they're showing people getting the keys to their car. Even at Giga-factory Shanghai, the first ones, it was televised. People got their keys while they filmed the occasion. But for the Model Y, there hasn't been much. In fact, it almost seems that Tesla is still almost anti-selling the Y in some ways. Yeah. There's not a lot of fanfare from Tesla at all. And I just wanted to put it to the panel. Why do you think that is happening with the Model Y when this hasn't happened before? Is this Tesla growing up? Is the celebrations that we used to enjoy, are they a thing of the past? What do you guys think?
I wouldn't say that they're done with it. I mean, because even Toyota and them, they'll do launch events. It's this car has been kind of like treated like a stepchild its entire existence. During the unveil, it was tucked in a corner in the dark. So far, there's been no fanfare to even the fact that they're shipping and, hey, here's the launch day and nothing. And so I'm wondering, like you said, if they're having, not really having trouble, but if they, just heads down in work mode and they're not really gonna amp it up. I mean, it's not even, you can say that it's 73% the same as the Model 3. The Model X and the Model S, they share a lot of components, and that one got 2 unveils and a delivery event.
Yeah.
Unless Model X stole Model Y's delivery event.
I don't know. It's as I said, it's kind of a little bit surprising that we've gotten to this point. There hasn't been much of the fanfare that we've seen with other launches. What do you think, Patrick?
Yeah. So, as you probably know, Musk recently tweeted something about the panic over a recent virus being dumb.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that came out of, they were talking about planning this event and someone said, no, we can't do it because we don't want to have a large crowd together. And he's probably said, yeah, you're right, but that's just dumb. And then I wonder if that was the source of that tweet. I don't know.
Oh yeah, because he loves a good party, and like he's even talking about doing a party at Giga Berlin soon. And
he's talking about opening a rave underneath the factory.
Yeah. Every factory needs a rave.
Absolutely. I don't know how many raves I've been in Detroit, Michigan, because the factories are everywhere there. But it is interesting that even if that is the point, that they cannot have maybe a group of people together, or they don't want to take in that type of liability, why would they not televise it? Why would they not hand out keys to a group of individuals that are the first, or some people from the head of the line? Like this is PR they could grasp and film and share with the world. I don't see why you would miss that opportunity.
This isn't Apple, Google, and Facebook. I mean, who can bother streaming an event around the world to millions of people?
Well, I mean, obviously Tesla knows how to do that, and they know how to do it well.
That's what I was getting at. Them and their sister company, they do it almost weekly sometimes with the rocket launches.
The 15th has not come and gone yet. Maybe there will be something that will be televised, but I just think they're kind of missing the opportunity that is out there for them.
They are.
Or they have enough orders now, and they're not they'll do something when they've started fulfilling the orders they already have on the books, and then they when they want to generate demand, they'll do it versus doing it ahead of time, which would just type it up. Like you said, they've been anti-selling this vehicle since it was first announced, and maybe they're trying to keep their powder dry and time it for when they need it.
Yeah, it's like we said earlier, when you set it next to like an X90 and the RAV and the Tahoe, it's huge. It's a large vehicle. It's not Model X sized, but it's not far from it either. So it's gonna sell like hotcakes.
Well, and that's the thing, is that if this vehicle is going to sell like hotcakes, if this vehicle is going to move in those type of numbers, that should be something you're trumpeting. And I would think they would know that from the pre-orders.
Yeah, but if they're all sold,
they would have an idea.
You could save some money by not advertising it, even though
Yeah,
you're not
okay, but
buying advertisement.
Again, they don't buy advertising. They don't have to.
But
All they have to do is put up a webinar, and boom, they've got a million people watching it without announcing it. So
you just have to make the ad. That costs money. Not anywhere near as much as putting the ad in spots, but
peanuts.
Exactly.
Exactly. So I am watching for the 15th, and we'll see if there's going to be some sort of a surprise thing. But Tesla, man, just take a bow. You've got this opportunity. This looks like an amazing vehicle. I know many people that have ordered it and are hotly awaiting to get their hands on it. Man, take a bow. Show us a festivity, even if it is because of you can't have a crowd together. Bring a few people in, televise it. You will get definitely PR out of it, and it'll be worth your while.
Yeah, they should do it on the 14th, because that would be 1 year from the launch event. And so if there's people that have been getting their delivery confirmations, I wonder if there are some employees that could get it on the day before.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
The other thing on the why that I wanted to mention was that last week we talked about that truckload heading to Canada on the 401, actually in Canada on the 401, heading towards Toronto. We had one person confirm that they saw it from the initial report, but no one ever saw the vehicle land. No one ever saw it actually unload. No one saw where it actually ended up. So we don't know where it went. But just the other day, actually, was it this morning or yesterday morning, they had a one that was spotted in front of the service center in Vaughan, Ontario, which is a suburb of Toronto. So I'll just share that with the group that this came up. Angelo got this photo, and it was just parked in front of one of the basically the L2 chargers, as it was probably charging up overnight. You'll notice it has no front plate. Ontario requires a front plate, so this is most likely a manufactured version. Could be a California car. We don't know. They weren't able. The gate was closed, and they were unable to get to it. So they just got the photo from this distance.
I found my Easter egg video.
Casey made an Easter egg video.
Yes.
And you were having a hard time finding it. So
I was, but I found it. So look at this. Share my screen, and it's my video, so I can share it.
You're not going to sue us, are you, Casey?
I'm not going to sue me. Don't sue me, bro.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. So the lights did string across
the top.
But still over.
It looks like it might be there.
Oh my goodness.
It's there.
Oh. It's been there all along. Daytime, nighttime, holiday lights, no holiday lights. It's been there hiding from us.
Indeed.
Fabulous.
If it was a snake, it would have bit me.
We can't get them all, Casey. Can't get them all.
But you saw how dark it was.
Yeah.
Our next story is about the Kansas City Auto Show that Patrick's going to tell us a little bit about.
Oh, I decided to skip that one. You were going to do that one.
Right.
Yeah, so Kansas City had an auto show, and because the auto show is put on by the Dealership Association, and Tesla is not a member of the Dealership Association, Tesla was not invited to participate. And that's the same thing with the Portland Auto Show. And if you're not a member, I guess if it's their show, it makes sense that you wouldn't get to play in their playground. But there were some Tesla owners that were not happy with that, so they decided to do their own little thing, and I'll let Mark take it from there.
Yeah, the Tesla owners of Kansas City got together and were able to commandeer some space outside of the show and set up their own little viewing area with their own cars of the group of Tesla vehicles, and manned the booth themselves and spoke to people about electric cars and what was available for the Tesla line, and actually provided test drives with their own vehicles. They had some stats of about 130 test drives were performed the day they were there, and they were quite pleased with the response that they were getting just outside of where the auto show was taking place. Also, they had mentioned that the year before, some Teslas were allowed into the show, but it wasn't from Tesla corporate. These might have been modified Teslas, privately owned, but this year they decided to ban all Teslas regardless as to whether or not they were privately owned or from the company. So just a little bit of a change, but hey, if the owner association got together and put on their own display, hats off to them. They're certainly helping the cause and allowing people to notice that there are other choices available to them, even in the Kansas City area. So fantastic.
Yeah, I liked that the local news was there, and they like pointed out, like, hey, who haven't you seen here? And then like people were naming stuff off, and then they're like, it was Tesla. Did you see Tesla here? And everybody's like, no, you're right. I didn't see any Teslas here. And like some of them, they even went as far as to kind of speculate why. I guess throughout the day, the answers got a little bit not TV friendly, so they stopped. And then at the end, they cut to the Tesla Club, and it was awesome.
They stopped taking opinions at one point.
Yeah.
Probably a good thing for live TV. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to give a Electric Auto Association plug here. If you're doing an event with test drives, and butts in seats are the best ways to get people to realize what they're missing out on. So I highly encourage test drive events if you are an EV club. But if you're going to do that, you want to make sure that you have insurance. Yeah. And one thing that the Electric Auto Association does is if you're putting on an event like that and you are part of the EAA, that you can get insurance through the organization. And it's really cool. We've done a bunch of different events, and having the fact that they give us that insurance rider really does help allow people to use their own personal vehicles in these types of events.
Yeah, definitely have insurance, proper insurance to cover yourself, and of course the people that are lending you their cars is absolutely a big concern and should be covered for sure.
Yep.
Next, we got a tweet from Elon just recently about, for some reason, he's out scouting central United States, looking for a location for a new Giga-factory, apparently. And this was kind of interesting that initially he had said Giga-factory for a CyberTruck, and then he added the caption afterwards, looking for a Model Y for the East Coast as well. And some people took that as 2 gigafactories. So many people took it that he said 2 gigafactories. He had to clarify himself and update it. So yes, it was definitely 1 gigafactory for making of the Cybertruck, and another line to make the Model Y for the East Coast of the U.S. Actually, probably the East Coast of North America. Yeah. So it was a bit of a frenzy that's gone on, and just today, all of a sudden, we're getting that Nashville may be in the running as well. So, or they maybe he's just playing Texas off of Nashville and vice versa. So it's interesting to see that that first comment about Giga Texas, which was made a few weeks ago, there's more smoke on that subject just yesterday.
They both got accents and say y'all. It'll be fine.
Either way, it's good. Well, yeah. So one thing they've learned from the Sparks, Nevada site is you need to put it someplace where people really want to live.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been a real problem for them is hiring people out there. It's out in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, putting it in Austin or Nashville, I think and that's probably why they picked Berlin as well. Is that's someplace where you can hire local talented people, and that's great. And of course you get a free rave with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So even after the clarification, I initially took it as two factories, as still, and then rereading it with my Microsoft Speak lens, because Musk and Microsoft tend to speak in that same level of code. It made more sense that it was just one, and the second line is to service the East Coast, which was a lot less awesome, but still awesome.
Well, yeah, I guess they have Buffalo, right? If they wanted to expand that and start building vehicles there as well.
Why not?
Russell seems to think they want to shut it down.
Put a line in. Come on, let's go.
Yeah,
absolutely. Buffalo needs pickup trucks too, so that would be
number 4.
Would be fantastic. To put
or
Buffalo
at least
to use.
Model Y is probably going to be their most popular vehicle. So if they were going to build any vehicle there, that would be the place to do it.
I suggested Windsor or Oshawa, but that just may be me.
Yeah, the U.S. needs 3 gigafactories. Canada has 0.
1. Come on,
yeah,
throw us
just
both.
one.
Come on. Exactly.
He's gonna put it in Mexico, snub us all.
Oh, that would be horrible. I
don't think he will, just because he can, as long as it's not in Mexico, he can put that in the face of all the other U.S. automakers.
Oh man. Well, our final story of the evening comes back full circle to Shanghai, and what we've got there is the footings or the pilings are now being placed for, it appears to be a second factory on Tesla land that is roughly the same size as the original building that took a year to go up. So they are now starting to install pilings for the new, I guess, phase 2 or 3, depending if you call the battery plant phase 2. This is the third building that's being put on the site. And this, of course, couples with the announcement of the ramp up of the Gigafactory in China, that it's going to be able to handle increased volumes from the initial numbers that came out. So almost a doubling, went from 250,000 to 500,000. And again, if you're going to do that, I guess you need double the space. So they're starting the build on the new factory, which would, of course, contain more lines to build vehicles.
This thing is so freaking massive. It makes the semi-trailers look like tiles, and makes the tent. The tent is large itself. It makes the trailers look like toys.
Yep.
And these buildings make the massive tent look small.
And there's one thing that we already know is that, hey, this building will be built by next week.
Probably so.
Yeah, so they already have one for 3s and Y, and then another one for batteries. Mm-hmm. And then this is going to be more 3 and Y lines or something else.
Could be something else. Could it be the world car that they spoke about at some point ago?
Are they ready for that yet, though? Has the Chinese Design Center opened yet?
Yeah, maybe this building will include the Chinese Design Center.
Oh,
I don't know, but interesting that, and that's, I think that in my head, that world car would be another dominance factor of Tesla, being able to snap up another bit of the market underneath the Model 3 currently, getting people to stretch into a car that's maybe, instead of 35, but maybe it starts at 28, maybe it starts at 27, something in that range. That would be tremendous. Another another, I guess, feather in their cap if they can manage that. Maybe they have to wait a few years for the batteries to get into that price tag. Maybe there's a few things. I really hope they're working on that. That's something that they will be after at some point in the future, because having that type of a new entrance for the lower level would be ideal for Tesla to snap up even more market share.
22,
Yep.
Bob. 22.
22.
22K. World cars.
Oh, wow.
Crank windows.
All right.
Crank windows, yeah.
Actually, I heard a stat somewhere that the crank windows actually cost more than the electric windows.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh man. So yeah, that's about a wrap up of what we got for the news this week. And what we'll do now is we'll do some shoutouts and head home. So Mr. Green, any shoutouts for us this evening?
Yeah. So as you saw, I've got Tesla update videos, and we just got another update, 2020.8.1, and there are some weirdnesses to it. And I've got the video sitting in this particular camera here, and that should be up later this week.
Excellent.
That's
Excellent.
at youtube.com/KACEYGREEN. That's Casey Green.
Very good. Very good. Mr. Connor, any shoutouts from you this evening?
Yeah, I just installed 2020.8.1 last night, and I want to know what these weirdnesses are. I can't wait to see your video, Casey. I didn't think much of it. Update, cool, install.
It didn't look like much, yeah. But then I sat, because that's my thing lately, is rather than rush to YouTube with video, because there's enough people out there doing that, sit on it and simmer for a little bit and see what's changed, especially the off menu stuff.
Awesome.
Very good.
Well, I already gave a little bit of a shout out to the Electric Auto Association earlier, so I'll finish that plug up. I am a member of the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org, and we're on Facebook and Twitter. Check us out there. Thanks.
Very good.
Cool.
Just a little appetizer for next week. We have been speaking with a new group, the Tesla Ideas Group. They have a website that we'll put in the show notes. And what they do is they provide a forum for people that have an idea for Tesla. They can put that in, describe what it is, put keywords on it, and then submit it. And people can vote on the idea. And then based on the number of votes, it moves up the chain. And guess what? This same group just got an idea pushed through, and that was the Bluetooth sitting was one of their ideas from one of their members. So
Yes.
that was a recent win for them, and this certainly makes sense that you could organize this stuff, put it out in front of all the people's eyes, and get people's viewpoints en masse. And next week we're going to get the ability to judge a few of these different ideas and present the best of ideas. So we'll incorporate that somehow into the show next week, and watch for that a week from today.
Yeah, that Bluetooth feature, I've tweeted that request at Musk twice because it's a big pain when I'm taking a call on my headset and it jumps to the car before I'm actually in the car. And so yeah, it's really cool to see that they're being responsive to what their customers are asking for. And websites like this where it reminds me of Say for the investors. You have to have these suggestions that get voted to the top. The ones that are the top few are the ones that we can collectively say as a community, here's what we would like to see. And that's awesome.
Yep, and
Exactly.
Model 3 and Model X were especially susceptible to this. So the Model 3 with that phone key, and then the Model X, as you approach the car, it flings the door open, and as soon as the door is open, snatches the audio.
You're done. You have to
Also-
be in the car.
Yeah, also with Smart Summon, if there's no butt in the seat, and it's also playing music to itself, and now you're like minutes ahead on your podcast, or you missed the news, or who knows, whatever else.
That was another thing, Casey. Thanks for reminding me. The Smart Summon, Elon did mention that reverse summon was coming. And for those of you who don't know what reverse summon would be, that's when you leave the car where you're being dropped off, and the car will go park itself.
Yes.
So a lot of people are really interested in that. So we will see when that comes. But that's
the
been promised is sometime soon.
The track mode V2, is that part of 2020.8 or is that a different update?
I don't know.
I don't have a
And you'd
performance
have to
don't
pay
have a
for it as well.
performance car, so I'm
yeah,
not sure.
Me neither.
I've had Performance X, but it doesn't have track mode because it's a legacy car.
Right.
Oh, I've got one more for the show notes. I want to throw this one out there. It is TeslaShopUSA.com. And if you're buying accessories for your Tesla and you find something on there that you want, I have a discount code that they gave me. And it's TM3N10. And that came through. I have a Tesla Model 3 news page that I run on Facebook. So it's a 10% discount for the Tesla Model 3 news page. Awesome. So there you go. Yep, check that out. Feel free to use that discount. Enjoy.
Very good. Very good. Now, if you've stayed to the end and you haven't given us that thumbs up, please do so now. And of course, if you haven't subscribed, I don't know what you're waiting for. Now is your time. Subscribe, give us a number. We would appreciate it. I would like to thank Patrick and, of course, Casey for joining us tonight. And we thank you for listening or watching at this time or whenever. And we will follow up with you next week and find out what's going on in the Tesla life. There we go. Good night, everyone. Have a great week.